So, ladies and gentlemen, time to recap on the World Championships Cyclocross 2022 in Fayetteville, Arkansas. We're starting with the junior women. The Dutch ladies are starting in the front, having a good start. It's Lauren Molengraaf who has the first corner. Then we have Zoe Bakstedt, and then a Czech rider, an Italian rider, and another Dutch one. And it's a tricky first corner, as we see here, with Lauren slipping and sliding, but she's technical, very skilled, and goes full gas. So when we get down, she has a bit of a gap, and we see that between the junior ladies, there are some gaps starting to open up. But when it all comes together in the second round, we have the race-winning move. And we see coming out of this corner that the second rider, the English rider Zoe Bakstedt, goes full gas to the top of the climb, and all the ladies behind, the 6 ladies behind her, are still sitting down, not even trying to go with her. They're probably already on their limit. So the race is ridden for the World Championship stripes, and she just got farther away and farther away, and after the race she came over the line as first, followed by Leonie Bentveld and Lauren Molengraaf. To see my predictions, I predicted she was going to win, so that means it's a 1-on-1 for me. Then we are going to the second category of this World Championship, and that is the men under 23. And we see in the middle Cameron Mason, the British rider, not having such a good start. The first meters are okay, but after that he's getting swarmed. And we see the Belgian riders going full throttle in the beginning. And they're a bit wilder in the first corners, trying to stay together because they all think that it's going to happen on the first lap. The Belgians are already attacking, but after just one lap, it all gets back together again. And then we see it coming all together here with the Cameron Mason moving up on the right side. And in the second position, we see Joran Wieseuren giving it all he got, followed by Mees Hendricks, the Dutchman. And this is the move of the race, because in the next one, we see Mees Hendricks in second position, having not the best of corners, probably because he's riding full throttle. And we see Joran Wieseuren having 5-6 meters and then 7 meters. And then on the next screen, we see him meter by meter getting a bigger gap. And then once he gets to the big straightaway, he goes full gas. And you see Mees Hendricks not responding, the other Dutch riders not responding, and 3 Belgian guys staying in the wheels. We see here Ryan Kamp arguing with Pim Ronhaar. Pim Ronhaar wasn't working in the beginning when Ryan Kamp was going full gas, trying to close the gap, but always the 2 Belgians in the wheels. And then when Ryan Kamp goes full throttle, he gets countered by Emile Verstrengen, the Belgian champ, and he is getting away for second place. And on the last lap, Ryan does a hero pull for Mees Hendricks for him to get the bronze medal. He gaps Cameron Mason, but Thibaut Nys closes the gap. And then it's going to be a sprint between the 2 of them for the last podium spot. While they are racing still hard with each other, it's Joran Wieseuren going for the line solo and winning his first World Championship with Emile Verstrengen in second. And then we have a fierce sprint by Thibaut Nys going for the third place, so a full Belgian podium. And my predictions were not so good. I had Pim Ronhaar and Cameron Mason on it, and it became Joran Wieseuren. But my second star, Emile Wieseuren, he became second. So I think that's half a point. So it's a 1.5 to 2 at the moment. And then the women's elite. Well, the women's elite is a much bigger field than the juniors or the under 23 women. But a lot of Dutch riders who are going to battle it out with some French riders, some Italians, and maybe the Hungarian Catablanca Vaz. In the first corner, we see a strange move by Marianne Vos, and we're going to see it in slow motion again to see what happens. We see Celino Carmen Alvarado going outside, inside, outside, and hitting the front wheel of Marianne Vos, and she just keeps it up. So she still has a chance to get back, and she does that here on the big ring, slowly getting back to Lucinda Brandt and Ceylin Carmen Alvarado. And then Brandt is going for 3 laps of full gas, trying to smother all the other riders. Persico, the Italian, just came back, but is getting gapped again when Alvarado makes a little mistake. And Brandt has a gap. Vos has to close it down. And then after just 2 laps, we have 2 ladies in the front and 2 ladies behind chasing them. Vos making faces, showing that she's hurting, having to follow Lucinda Brandt. But, you know, she has a sprint to fall back on, so she's not going to do any work. And Lucinda is not happy with it, saying, hey, come on, take over. But you know the answer. No, I can't, or I won't, because it's not my race to win at this point. But in the end of the race, Vos is trying to weaken Lucinda and see if there is a more safe chance to get solo to the finish. But she's not able to gap Lucinda. And then on the last lap, she tries again, but she's very fast. That Lucinda is still fit enough, still sharp enough to follow her fierce attack. So it's going to be a sprint between the 2 of them. And like I said in my preview, here they're going for a bit of a standstill, but it's hard to beat Marianne Vos with such a long straight, as we are going to see now. Lucinda is going a bit faster, so Vos doesn't have such a big kick on her, but even then, it's pretty easy for Marianne to win this sprint, as she shows here, and winning her 8th, I said 8th world title in cyclocross, the first one in 2006. Incredible. My predictions, well, they were spot on. Number 1 and 2 I had. The Canadian Americans were disappointing a bit this race, but I'm pretty happy with the podium, and I think that's a good point for me. So that's a 2.5 to 3 on the standings right now, and we're going to the junior men. The junior man in the middle on the left, we see in orange David Havenings, the big favorite for this race. And in the middle, the British rider Nathan Smith, that's going for the head start. And then we see them through the first turn, all okay. But you see those are hungry juniors fighting 4-5 deep. And here on the left side, we see a guy on a yellow bike. He gets from maybe 25th back on one climb to the first position and then attacks. Guy to look out for, because the second lap, David Havenings, the big favorite, crashes. He's out of the race. Well, he finishes, but he can't contend for the first place again. The guy on the yellow bike crashes, gets back, and then 3 guys are left with the guy on the yellow bike going for it again. It's Jan Christen with the Belgian Arend Dox and the British rider Nathan Smith. And they just can't get rid of themselves. They're in the last lap right now with an American and a Frenchman following. And then Christenen goes for the typical road attack with a bit of a gap and then jump him. But Arend Dox is still explosive enough to follow him. So that means we're going for a big finale, a big sprint with these 3 riders. And then Arend Dox goes very, very early. So Christen has a bit of a gap that he can close in on, and then go full throttle over him in the last 100 meters to take his first world championship. A surprise, that's possible with the junior races when a guy with a big engine like him, a good road rider, just surprises all the typical cross riders for this championship. So my predictions were far off when David Havenings fell out of the contention for first place. So it's still 2.5 to 4 now. And then we're going to the next one, the under 23 women, with 3 Dutch riders in the middle. Not such a big field, but still pretty competitive. We see the French rider on the right taking the head start with the American in second and Puck Pieterse in third. We see in third place Fem van Empel pulling her shirt a bit, something she does very often. And then after 1 lap, we see only 6 riders together with the French Fouquenet, Burguet, and the Luxembourger Schreiber. But in the 3rd lap, Shirin van Anderen goes full throttle up the climb, with only Puck Pieterse following and Fem van Empel having a bit of a gap. And with Fem van Empel being the fastest of the 3 riders, the other 2 Dutch ladies are bound together to get rid of her and work together. That happens, but then Van Androoy makes a little bit of a mistake, so they all get soloed, and then they come back together again with 2 laps to go. Fem van Empel makes a mistake here, so she has to learn for that for the finale. But Puk Pieterse, with 1.5 lap to go, she goes full throttle again, trying to wear down her competitors before the sprint, trying to ditch them. But then Fem van Empel goes inside, so she's learned from that last lap, the 2 laps to go, and then now we're going to the last lap. And on that last lap, Puk Pieterse goes at it again, tireless, keeping the attacks on, keeping the pressure on, and trying to ditch the riders. Well, Shirin van Androoy is a bit gapped, but Fem van Empel is still with her. But then Puk Pieterse ride the little hump like she did always, and Fem van Empel got surprised again when her front wheel hit the rear wheel of Puk Pieterse. Then Shirin van Androoy comes back because Fem van Empel got her chain off, and we're going to sprint with Pieterse and Van Androoy. Van Androoy coming back. Pieterse was the rider in front, so who still has the most energy left? Well, Pieterse starts with the sprint pretty fast, pretty fierce, and then Van Androoy tries to counter, but she gets stuck like with a wheel to go, and then the finish line is too close, and Puk Pieterse is world champion under 23. And then when I look at my predictions, I have the full podium, but I don't have the winner correctly. I had Fem van Empel as a winner, but Puk Pieterse won it in a close sprint. So yeah, well, instead of full point, I say it's half a point. So let's see what the end result is. We had 2.5 out of 4, so now that means we're 3 out of 5 with these 3 ladies on the podium. Pretty close though, huh? And then onto the last category, the men's elite. Well, the men's elite are without their 2 biggest players, but we are going to see who is going to be the new king of cyclocross. We have Lars van Haar on the left, and on the right we have Tom Pidcock, my 2 favorites for this race. And Pidcock is losing a bit on the start, but Lars van Haar has a head start and goes full gas into the descent. Then on the first climb it all gets a bit together, but Toon Aerts goes for an attack and Pidcock goes for the defense, controlling the race. Then the first run-up where we see Iserbyt walk running a bit different than all the others with his bike on his hands and not on his shoulder. Then the first finish line, it's Joshua Dubot keeping up the pace, try to stay in front. Mike Vantoura with a bit of a false attack, and Pidcock is controlling it all. Then we have Clément Venturini, the big road rider, good climber, who's going to the front. And then the first real big attack from Laurens Sweeck. Pidcock has to go full gas to get the gap to close, and all the other riders are on the ropes all together. Then Pidcock goes for the control again, making sure he has everybody in his sight, and then Vantoura goes for a full attack. This is the move of the day because Pidcock counters and all the other riders are on the ropes again, and then Pidcock makes the move of the day by going on the inside of this corner. Well, Vantoura doesn't expect it and gets in trouble on the steep descent, forgets to shift, and Pidcock then has a bit of a gap. Iserbyt got knocked over, and then it's 7-8 meters. After this corner it's 9 meters, and then it goes on and on and on, and he slowly rides away until he gets onto the big grass section where he goes full pull, as we say it, and just blasts away of the Belgians, where we see the 3 riders trying to chase behind, trying to work together. Iserbyt's trying to close the gap, but they all can't make it because Tom Pidcock keeps going from the bottom to the top of the climb, standing on the pedals, and then with 2 laps to go, it's Lars van Haar who profited from the Belgians, trying to shake him off to get that silver medal. He gets Iserbyt with him, trying to even get rid of him on the tarmac, and then Pidcock goes for his last, second to last climb, still going full gas on the pedals. Iserbyt attacking Lars van Haar, but Lars is still fresh enough to counter, and then they are going for a full sprint. But first, a bit of a showboat from Tom Pidcock, the Superman. Very difficult. I don't know anyone who can do it, but he can. And then last sprint of the World Championship where Lars van Haar surprises Elie Iserbyt a bit, and then just goes for that silver medal to make sure for me that I have a full podium, because I had Pidcock, Van der Haar and Iserbyt on it. So that is going to give me double points, and with Pidcock with the greatest photo finish, I am with a standing of a 5 out of 6. Well, 5 out of 6 is exceptional good, I think, from my part. And I hope you all enjoyed the World Championships. And, well, we'll see you again next cross season. Ciao.